get kind of advanced into it, but you got to start somewhere. So we're going to start somewhere. Under your skill tree, or skills tab, you're going to find all the skills you need for this stuff right here under Planetary Management. There's only 5 skills in there. That's awesome. And it doesn't take too long to get them up to like level 4. But once you start getting to like the level 5 stuff, of course it's going to take some days. Planetary Consolidation. This one, you're going to start off, you're not going to have any of these things leveled up, but you're still going to be able to put a command post on one planet. Now, if you put 1 point into this skill here, interplanetary consolidation, it's going to unlock another planet for you to build on. You can get, once you have this maxed out, you're going to be able to put on build on a maximum of 6 planets. Now, another very important skill to have for this is the command center upgrades. This is going to let you be able to build more structures on the planets themselves, and you'll see exactly what this affects when we get into it. Those 2 are the major ones. You have remote sensing, and you got planology left on here. This is going to help, like your scanning, when you're going to see how to read the data about where to find the resources on the planet. This is going to help you scan those resources and be more accurate and help you in determining where you're building your structures at on the planet. Not terribly important, but important enough. You'll see the accuracy and the grids and how they work. They become more refined the higher you get these points up. So those are kind of like bonus add-ons, gets you a little more efficient. But the big ones are the number of planets you can build on and the amount of things that you can build on the planets. Get those first. Maybe put a couple points in these because they only take a few hours for the first few, for like the scanning stuff. But you really want to hammer down on these 2. Because that's going to be your money maker. Now, if you go into your Neocom tab like I just did here, and you go under Industry, you can go to Planetary Production. This opens up the window with all the planets that you have built on. These are different planets that I'm ripping different basic resources from and then refining those resources into their first, they call it so when you harvest stuff from the planets, it's considered like P0. And then when you refine it into its next stage, it's considered a P1 material, like a tier 1. And then you can go to tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4. Let me open up this diagram real quick. It's really super helpful, and I'll give you everybody the link for it. You guys can see this, right? This webpage I opened up?
No.
No, you won't be able to do that.
Oh, damn it.
No. Because you're streaming directly
It's just
EA.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you could see everything on on the monitor or not. It's fine. I'm gonna go ahead.
Hey, cut.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and just give you guys the link. You can look at this later. It's super helpful. Okay, I posted it in Corp Chat. You guys can take a peek at it now or later. Later's probably better, but this is going to help you kind of organize your thoughts a little. I'm switching over to my other guy because I have to set up one of his planets. So you guys can still see what I'm doing, right?
Yes.
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 Okay, so I opened up his planetary screen through the Neocom, just like the one we were just looking at. He has no skills trained in this stuff whatsoever. But you can see that I have one slot that's unlocked. So without any skills, you'll have one, which is fine. We already went over the skills and everything. So now I'm going to show you how to find a planet. And you can do this like literally from anywhere. I like doing it from the safety of inside a station to get my bearings to figure out what I want. Now that graph link that I gave you guys, depending on what you're going for, what materials you're trying to build, once you figure that out, you'll know what type of planet you're going for, that you're going to be looking for. So one of the particular materials that I'm going for are the non-CS crystals. Those I know are found on lava planets. So you will need a command center. Each planet has a specific command center that you need for it. Every planet's going to have a different set of resources that you can harvest from it. The one I'm going for happens to be on a lava planet, so here's my lava command center. Oh god, I don't, my ship bay's not big enough to take it. I'm sorry, one sec guys. Alright, I'm gonna have to switch back over to my guy and just run through it that way. I was not fully prepared. Generally, you're going to need a hauler, something with like a decent amount of cargo space, because eventually you're going to be moving around some materials that you're going to be extracting.
Have near us. Is that good? Hello?
Okay. All right. So to find a planet, you can do it at the safety of a station and stuff. We're going to go for a lava planet. So the way I like to do it is I click on this current over here, the top left-hand corner, where it gives like your current location and stuff. You can click on the current solar system right here. Now, Lou. Once you're on this tab, this is great. I love these tabs, full of all kinds of helpful information. What we're going for is Orbital Bodies tab. This is going to give you the list of every single planet that's in this solar system. I know for the particular material that I'm going for, the non-CS crystal thingies, I know they're on lava planets. So we know in Nalu there's a lava planet here, and they're in numerical order. So you might have to scroll down to see if there's more than one lava planet. Which there's not. There's just one lava planet here, which is fine. You right click on it. And you want to click on view planetary production on the planet. Now that pulls this up. Now we're looking at the planet, but we're still safe. We're inside a station. We're okay. On this basic view, you can get all the information you need on here. So like if I hold my mouse over the scanning button here, this is going to show all the skills that are going to be affecting what I can see on this planet. You want to click on the scan, and this will give you all the list of all the different materials that you can potentially extract from a planet. Every planet's going to be different, but all lava planets will have these specific materials. Generally, the lower security, like if we went to low sec or null sec, the amounts of materials on these planets would be a heck of a lot better than what these are right now. So the particular material I'm after are these non-CS crystals right here. You click on what you're going for, and it gives you this heat map. Now this heat map gets better with better skills, but it's good enough for what it is, what I have trained for. You can spin the planet around, check out this heat map, and importantly, you can slide this bar. What I recommend is you slide this bar until you start getting into the white part of the heat maps. So let me slide this so you can see what I'm talking about. So to slide it to the left, to the down, I had to slide it down pretty far before we started seeing the white. The white is the heat map's going to be your hot spots, the spots that are going to have the highest amount of materials. Now, if I shrunk this down even further, it's not going to be too accurate. It's just going to white everything out. See? Yeah, I can't tell which one has the highest content. You want to slide it down to when you start to get the white heat map. I know there's more of a concentration of non-CS crystals right here in this location than anywhere else on this planet. Alright, there's some on that side too. Okay, so once you've located a planet, and this is where you want to build, you're going to need your command center. You're also going to need to undock and go to the planet. So I'm going to undock here. Now to get out of the screen, you right click and exit the planetary view. We're going to go to a planet that I already have set up. I was wanting a fresh start for you guys so you can absolutely see it, but it's okay. I'm going to rip some things up and then show you how to connect it all down together again. So I'm going on my planetary list here, and I am actually set up on a lava planet for these non-CS crystals in Lareau. Probably because it had just a hair bit more quantity on that planet than the one that it was in Nalu. Bear with me, we'll jump over there. In the meantime, you guys can listen to the kids scream in the background. This is where it starts to get fun, guys. The building part, a lot of clicking, and you'll see what I mean by that. But once we get this set up, it's great. We're only going to have to mess with it every, depending on how you set it up, every 3 or 5 days. I usually set them up for about 5-day increments. But you could be more efficient setting it for lower days, and we'll see that. We'll see that. Okay, so say I don't have this planet up on my list. You can find this planet by clicking on the current solar system like we did, go to the Orbital Bodies tab, and then you can find the list of all the planets. We want this lava planet here. So you can right click on that and warp to it. So we're going to warp to this planet. Okay, once you get to the planet, you can actually right-click on the planet itself and view it in the Planetary view. Am I clicking it the right way? Okay, never mind. You can just find it on the list. So I've already got some stuff built on here, so ignore that. I'm gonna rip it up real quick and show you how this works. One second. But anyway, you're gonna warp to the planet. You're gonna open up your inventory, and you're gonna select this lava command center. I don't have the option for it yet because I'm already on this planet.
Yeah, you got to remove your setup to place the new setup.
Yeah, I'm gonna rip the materials that it does have, and then rip the command center off, and then throw it back down real quick.
Right now what he's doing is you can launch pad and send the materials to the customs office, and then you move the items from the customs office into your ship inventory.
Okay, this is a fresh planet now. I forgot to hit the submit button, that's why I wasn't getting the option. Okay, so I removed everything off of this planet. Now I have a free slot here, okay? What we can do now... Okay, what am I doing wrong? Okay, that's what I gotta do. Sorry, it's been a while. This stuff's been set up for some time. Okay, so once you've located your planet, you scan down, you got an idea of what you're going for. Not like clicking on the scan tab, we'll click on the build tab. You have one option under the build tab. You have to have the lava command center in your cargo hold. So select this, plop it down on the planet. It does not matter where you put this thing. I just put it anywhere. Once you put it down, you have to hit submit. Now you can see under the build tab, we have all these things that popped up. We have a lava extractor control unit, a lava basic industry facility, an advanced industry, a storage facility, a launch pad, and a create link. If you lose this little command center that you've plopped down, just double click on the planet. It will zoom you in and take you right to it. So that way you never lose it. First thing I do is I click on this bad boy. And then I go to this first option here. This is the upgraded. This is what's one of those skills that I was showing you that allows you to build more structures on a planet. You click that, and then on this bar here, you can upgrade it at different levels. I just max it out because I want as many extractors on here. I want as many factories. I'm gonna max this bad boy. You can see my power output and my CPU output is going up substantially. I have my skills maxed out. When you first start off, you're probably only going to be, like if you got level 3 upgrade, upgrade skills, you're going to be capped out at a certain limit until you've maxed out your skills. It does cost money. This is going to cost me 6.3 million to upgrade this. It's okay. Alright, we have upgraded. Now I have a lot more capacity for building on here. Everything you do, if you close out of it without submitting any changes that you make, it will erase them. They're not official until you submit what you've done. I'll submit. There. Now it's charged me 6.3 mil. Now I went back to scan. We're going to go to non-crystal metals. Non-CS crystals, sorry. Here, look, here, this looks like a nice spot right here. I've already got my heat map adjusted the way I like it. I've got my concentrated spots of it right here. We're going to go back to the build tab. We want an extractor unit. This is how we're going to rip out resources off the planet. You want that sphere of influence there that you see around this building, this extractor unit that I'm going to build. You want that to overlap where you're trying to extract stuff. You can't extract anything outside that circle. So, there's a couple little spots there. I'm going to get both of those in my circle. Okay, I got my extractor unit down, and I've hit submit on it. Now I'm going to show you guys how to actually set up the extractor. You click on it. We have to put a program into it. We have to tell this extractor what exactly it's going to extract. Once you click on that, all your materials are listed right up here. You have to select one. I'm going for these non-CS crystals. Boom. It pulls up our heat map. This is going to help us lay our extractor heads, the actual units that will be doing all the work. The program duration, you can change this. I want to show you what that does. But first, let's get our extractor heads put down. You can put a maximum of 10 extractor heads per extractor unit down, but each extractor head's gonna take power and CPU. That's why it was extremely important to upgrade our command center. It allows us to put more extractors on. You guys can crunch the numbers on your own time, figure it all out. I'm just going to give you the lay of the land here. Each one can support up to 10 what I call extractor heads. Now that I have these on here, you saw how they all populated and they have their own little spheres and everything. Where those are at, so we'll grab this one. You can see that it highlighted over the second extractor head on the list, and it says 23.4. We can click and hold on this to drag that around. So watch what happens to that number when I take it over to the white heat map areas. Uh-oh. What happened? Did it freeze? There we go. See, I drug it down to the white heat map area because that's where it says that that there's more density, there's more resources there that can be extracted. So instead of 24 point whatever, now it's up to 56.2. So that's how you locate the most resources. You can also see over here my units are extracting per hour 13,548 units per average per hour. Now this program is only set to run for 1 hour. So after 1 hour, it's going to stop ripping resources up out of the ground. I want it to run a little longer than that. So let's set it for a couple of days. There. We'll set it for 3 days. On average per hour, you can see when it first kicks on in this graph, it's going to extract quite a bit of resources initially. And the longer it runs, the less and less per cycle, per hour, it's going to run. See, it kind of tapers off down here. It's a pretty big difference. But that's the simile, a mine kind of depleting. Some of these resources will regenerate over time. There's like little hot spots. You'll figure it out. But it's like when you go to an asteroid belt and mine the whole belt, and there's nothing there to mine anymore. But after a day or two, everything's regenerated. It's kind of the same idea for this planets. Also, my total units in 3 days is 302,000. Now let's see what happens if we set the program for 2 days. $243,000. That wasn't a good example. The longer you run, it drops off. Basically, just like how this graph is showing you. Initially, you'll get a ton of resources, but then it starts to deplete over time. So it's good to move. You're going to have to set this maybe for 2 or 3 days. There's not a whole lot of resources on this planet. These are very small numbers in comparison to some other things that you can get. But you'll have to move these extractor heads around. And worst case scenarios, sometimes you have to rip the extractor unit up and place it somewhere else on the planet because you have depleted everything in this area. Alright, so let's get our extractor heads in position. Maximize what we're ripping up. Now, do not overlap your extractor heads. Those little spheres that these are, if they touch or if they overlap, you'll notice here on the extractor heads minus 1%. That means the output of these extractors are gonna be reduced by 1% material. You're not getting the full effect. It's because they're overlapping each other and they're kind of pulling from the same spot. So it's good to keep them separated so you don't get that debuff, that negative. And I'm kind of just putting them up here kind of in a sloppy manner. But you can play with these, play with the numbers, try to zone in, the good, dial it in if you can. play with the days that the program runs and everything. You'll see once you play with these and the numbers, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So we were extracting what, 300,000? Now we're in 3 days. Now we're extracting 705,000. So once you get your extractors placed and you like where they're at, you can hit start extraction. Boom. It's extracting now. We're going to go ahead and hit submit. You notice there's a red ring around the extractor building. That means something isn't right. And you also can see on your Planetary Productions tab here, there's a big X. That means it needs attention. Something's wrong. You need to go to it and fix something. And this is what's wrong. It's extracting these materials, but yeah, that's great, but it doesn't have anywhere to put them. It needs somewhere to go. Let's make a little storage facility. We'll make one. You want to keep things close together. So we'll pop it right next door to there. We'll hit submit. We need a way for the materials to get from this extractor building to the facility. So that's where create a link comes in. Let's do that. This is like your infrastructure, your roads, your railway, whatever you want to think of it as. This is giving it a route, a medium to transfer to. So you click on one of the buildings and then click on the other. And then you want to hit submit. The reason why you want to keep your buildings and everything as close together as possible is when you create a link, it actually takes up power in CPU. Not a whole lot, but if you're going vast distances, you're wasting your power and CPU efficiency. Okay, we're still red. We made a link, we made a place for it to go. Now we have to tell it where to go. You click on your extractor building, and then you want to go to the next option here, the products. This right here is telling us what we're extracting and that it's not routed. It needs to go somewhere. It's in red. So let's click on this and let's tell it to go to the storage facility. I highlighted. Now I want to create a route. Once I click create a route, you select the building that you want it to go to, which is my storage facility, and then you want to hit create route. This is showing you how much of what and where it's going in this window. Yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. Hit create route. Boom. Red ring is gone. It knows where to put that material, and now it's going to stockpile here. This is great. Don't forget, you want to hit submit. Otherwise, all that work we just did will disappear. Cool. We are now ripping out P0 materials out of this planet. But let's do something with it. Let's make it into something. You're going to want to build a basic industry. Let's build a couple. You hit submit. I threw down 4. Again, you're gonna be able to play with the numbers and know how many facilities you're gonna want, to build factories and that's all about playing with the numbers. Like I know I'm making 700,000 units in so many days. Every cycle of an extractor is 2 hours. It pulls. You can get all these numbers and information by clicking on the buildings. Now on the facilities, they're going to need roads or links. That way you can get material to and from them. So let's create a link between all of these. All right, we got links. We got pathways for the material to go to and from, and then they're connected to the storage facility. Also, when I'm highlighting over this, you notice all of the links are blue. But when I highlight it over here, it's actually showing a pathway from the extractor turn yellow, and then the dots are heading towards the storage facility. That's illustrating where the material is flowing to. And, all right, next step, we're going to click on one of these guys. It wants to know what the hell it's building. What are we producing here? Well, the material that we're extracting are the non-CS crystals. Those can be turned into these, however you say this, chiral structures. It's already got it highlighted for me. It's going to take 3,000 units of those non-CS crystals, and it's going to take 30 minutes, and it'll turn 3,000 of them into 20 of these structures. So let's go ahead and say, yeah, that's exactly what we want. That's what, and you can look at this list depending on what you're extracting. Look at all these tier 1 items. We're taking tier 0 items and we're turning them into these tier 1 items. There's tons of this stuff. You can look through the list and figure out what you're going for here. You click install. Once you click install, it's going to go, hey, that's great. You know, I'm going to be building all this stuff, but what do you want me to do with it? It's going to ask you, where do you want it to go? Well, it looks like I'm jumping ahead a little bit. We actually need one more building before we do this. You're going to need a way of getting your final product off of the planet. This is where the launch pad comes in. Build the launch pad now. Create a link. Now we're going to set up the factory. We are going to send our final products directly to the launch pad. You can see when I highlight the launch pad, the pathway that turns yellow comes from the factory, goes to the storage unit, then it goes to the launch pad. You can set these links up any way you want. We just created the route, but look, it's still red. Well, why is this still red? There's something else that's not right with this factory. Why isn't it running? Well, it's because it doesn't have any materials going into it. Right now, our materials are being extracted and then they're being dumped into our storage facility. So we got to get all of our resources out of the storage facility and get it routed to each and every factory. Click on the storage facility. And you want to go to the spot where it's got these 3 arrows here. This is your routing. It's going to have, this is the type, it's incoming. It's going to have all of our extracting materials incoming to here. Well, let's select that. We're going to tell it, we're going to create a route. We're going to click on one of our factories, and then we're going to complete route, and the red circle went away. That means it's got its inputs, it knows what to do with its inputs, and it knows what to do with its outputs. Right now, if I walked away from this, it's good to go. You're done. That's it. But we're going to finish setting up the rest of our factories because there's a lot of resources coming from this. And this guy's only going to process 3,000 units every half hour. We can handle a lot more refining of this stuff. So we're going to go ahead and get the rest of our factories online. Click on the factory. Yes, we want to make these crystal structures. We're going to install it. It's going, okay, hey, well, where do you want it to go after we build these? Well, we want to go to the launch pad. We'll click that and create the route. And we'll submit. We need an input on here. We need the raw materials to actually get to the factory. We need to set that up. Go to your storage where we have it going. You want to go to your routes. Now, we've already done this before. And look what happened when we created that other route. It shows here, now there's an outgoing. 3,000 units outgoing. Well, that's going to that one factory. Make sure we click on the big stockpile of it, the incoming. You'll mess up your routes if you don't. We want to pull from this pile of resources that's coming in. Now you also notice there's another classification here, transitioning. The reason why this is on here is because our factories that are producing these crystalline structures, to get to the launch pad, they have to transition through that building. Because that's how we have set up our routes. That's fine. When they run a cycle, they produce 20 structures, and they're going to pass through the storage building to the launch pad. Now, if I didn't have that linked up that way, say I had a direct link to the launch pad, you would not see anything transitioning through this. That's just a separate route. Don't worry about it. It's okay. It's supposed to be there. So let's go ahead and finish these factories. We got to pull from the main stockpile that's coming in here. Alright, so what I just did on those two factories was I installed the program of what it's building, and then I gave the destination of when it's done building something where it's going to go to the launch pad. Now I'm going to go to my storage facility and I'm going to give them their inputs. I'm going to tell them where they're getting their raw materials from. There, I hit submit. Now we can just let this run. We're pretty much done. Congratulations, you've learned how to extract P0, Tier 0 items from a planet. You figured out how to store it. Now you know how to link it up to a factory to turn it into a Tier 1 item, which is a P1 item. And then you know how to get it off the planet. It's going to send it to this launch pad. Now to get it off a planet, I'm going to show you how you access this. You can either directly click on it and click on this launch button here. If I had material here, finished product, it would be on this side here. Right now, it's still producing things. I don't have anything built. So if something was here, we could click on it and drag it over to this box, and then it cost money. It would give you the cost right here, the transfer cost. And basically what you're doing is you're putting the stuff on a rocket and you're shooting it up to a customs office. The customs office is outside the planet. You can fly to it, you can actually see it and interact with it. There's another way you can access it. I'm going to show you that too. We're going to fly to another planet that I have set up, and we're going to pick up some material. so you guys know how to get those materials off the planet. If you have more than one launch pad, say I have another extractor unit built on the other side of this planet, and it has its own launch pad, to get those materials, you would click this drop-down box up here, and it will list all the launch pads that you have built on that planet. There's only one customs office. So when you transfer items, it will all transfer to the same place. Because to be able to get the items from the customs office, it's like looting a container. You have to be next to it. So let me go show you. Let's go pull some resources that are ready on this other planet I've got. This is the customs office. That's what it looks like. But we're going to go over to this other planet in the same system. I'm making some water over there, so let's go get it. You want to click on that, and you can press the button down here, warp to. So now we're warping over to it. It's going to take us right to the customs office. Easy peasy. Now, if there's something you need to do on a particular planet, again, you don't have to physically be at the planet. You can hit the view button. Say you're still at Nalu in the station. It doesn't matter what system you're in. We could be over in Jita. You can hit view. You can view any of the planets you're set up on. You can restart the programs. You can see what you got. The only time you actually have to physically be there is when you're picking up your items. So we're doing that now. We're flying over to it. Here's my next planet. We're at the customs office. You can actually click on the customs office and access it too. Or remember that button that I pressed to warp to? Look, it just changed. It changed to access because we can't warp to this planet anymore. We've done it. We're there. So now it changes to the access button. Once you click on it, it opens up that little rocket button tab that I showed you. So you don't even have to view the planet. You don't have to zoom in. You don't have to click on the launch pad itself and open it up. But I've got finished Tier 1 products here. I've got 3,480 units of water. I'm going to click and drag that over to the other side here. I'm going to hit transfer. Good, it's transferred. Don't forget, once you transfer your finished product, to open up your cargo hold and actually put it in there. Don't fly away and leave your stuff in the customs office. There, I've officially taken my water off of the planet. Now I can go fly this back, I can go throw it on the market, and I can go make some money. Right now these are 253 ISK per unit. This whole stack is worth 881,000 ISK. That's how you make the P1 items. Now to make the P2 items and the P3, and you can keep going, I gave you that link. You can see what it takes. It will take a different combination of P1 items to make P2 items, the T2 items. There's a different combination of these P2 items that you can combine to make the Tier 3 items, and so on. Obviously, the further down the chain you go, the more money, the more value this stuff is. But this, what I'm telling you, what I'm showing you, is getting you the entry level, getting you started, the first steps into this big chain. I know it's a lot of stuff to go over and think about, but if anybody's got any questions, I'd be happy to answer them now. And also, Haido, I'm going to have you live stream next here in a little bit, and I'm going to help you, and I'm going to watch you set up your planet.
He logged out, actually, for some reason.
But yeah, if anybody's got any questions, I know it's exciting stuff, but once you get it going, you know, I don't have to go back to that planet for 3 days.
Where do I get the buildings, like the command center?
You can buy those off the market. I know they're pretty much always available, and they're always a flat rate cost because that is, I believe those are NPC sold items, and the NPCs at certain stations sell those. Is that right, Aiden?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so there's, I think they all cost the same too. You'll just have to look it up. So if you can still see my screen, I'll show you how you do that. You want to go to your regional market. Oh God, what's it on? Oh yeah, Planetary Infrastructure, Command Centers. These are all the command centers. So once you look at that link and figure out, what you want to build, like, oh, I'm going to go for robotics or rocket fuel or whatever it might be. That link will also tell you where those materials are at. If you can find them on a lava planet or an ocean or plasma, whatever it may be. Then you can go through how I showed you through the current solar system button, and you can view the planets that are in that current solar system. Also in this tab, I want to show you guys, you can look at adjacent solar systems. So I click on that, and it shows all the solar systems connected to Luramu, where I'm currently at. So if I want to look to see what planets are in Nalu from here, I can select that from here. See, I right-clicked on Nalu and viewed its information, and now it's telling me it's only connected to Luramu, which is correct, it's a deaded system, but I can also see the orbiting bodies in that system from here, or from anywhere I'm at. So that keeps you safe while you're searching around for planets.
They're not that expensive.
No, I mean the initial startup costs, because you guys aren't going to be able to fully upgrade your system, the command centers right away unless you have your skills maxed out. But even maxing mine out, it only cost me 6 million ESC. So it's not too terrible, and you'll get that money back. It's once you get the stuff set up, it's a money train. It's passive money. You just mess with it every few days. It gets a little more tricky and a little more advanced on the setups. Like one of my planets is just a production planet. It doesn't extract any materials. There's just factories on it. So I collect all my materials from all these other planets that I'm extracting from and converting these items to P1 items, and I have it all set up, and then all I got to do is take the items over to the custom station, and just like how I'm pulling items out of the custom station, I'm transferring them into the station. And then those items then get distributed automatically because of how I have it set up to all the different factories that need all those different inputs. And they run through the whole gambit, and I end up producing, tier 3, tier 4 items that way. It's just a very good setup that way. But once you guys get your basics, planet set up and you've got your P1s going, I'll show you how to set up the more advanced planet and start producing more valuable goods, make more money.
You mentioned something about low sec and no sec.
Yeah. The lower security place that you're in, the better the quantities of materials are on that planet. So like the lava planets by us, you can see like the non-CS crystals, it only had like 1.5 bars maybe worth of materials. The whole bar was like 10. So like if we go back and we scan this planet,
A thing he's not mentioning though is LowSec is a PvP area, and you may not want to even consider doing PI out there because a player could kill you and take everything you've gotten.
yeah, I don't mess with going out there. I keep them in the high security areas. The money potential is still there. It's still worth doing. And it's safer. You can look at this planet. I went around everywhere, 10 jumps in every direction. This particular planet here in LaRue has got the highest content of this liquids, which get converted into water. Other ice planets don't even have this much on it. This planet is awesome. It's very uncommon to see something with this much material on it. But most of the time, you're going to find stuff that are like this noble gas or these plankton colonies. They're going to be not going to be a whole lot of resources on them whatsoever. But that's okay. It's fine.
Can
And-
somebody
Sell these items.
You'll haul them back to like your station, get them out of your ship's cargo into your hangar, and then you can right click and you can sell the items and put them up on the market for sale. Or you can look at buy orders at major trade hubs. Maybe pack up a hauler and haul them all over to a MAR and sell them immediately to somebody who has a decent buy order put in. You can sell
Can
them
I step
directly,
in here?
but you're not going to get as much money if you were to just list them for sale at a quality, at the going price. Yeah, go ahead, Jackie.
Can somebody come here and, take your factory, take over your setup?
Nope. Nobody can mess with or see my stuff or mess with it. You will never see somebody else's command center. It's completely secure. You don't have to worry about anybody destroying it or anything. It's something it's just for you.
So if you do it in a low sec area, the threat is at the custom office or going to pick it up or going to set it up.
Absolutely. That's when you put yourself at risk. Yep.
To be honest, he should have never mentioned low sec. I don't like the idea of you guys going out there to do that because you're just going to lose ships and lose your materials you get. Do it in
No,
high sec.
I have no intention of doing that. I'm just trying to understand where the danger is as far as setting up these
Yeah.
factories and stuff. It's not that you have something on the planet. It has to do with going and coming from the planet. So
Yeah,
you might have pirates to deal with, but that's simple because you can set your ship up to fight those.
You won't even ever have pirates at the planets. There'll be nothing there ever. But
Really?
yeah, with both my accounts, I do all my PI in high sec, and I make really good money.
You do want to invest in a little hauler. It doesn't take much skills to learn to know how to fly one and to get into one. Every race, whatever base race ships skills you started with or whatever, every race has got a hauler. You're just going to need the extra room to put the materials in, especially when you start expanding your operation and you're hauling around thousands of material. It tends to take up quite a bit of space.
Space are you looking at? 5,000 or more?
Oh, it just depends. Like that little bit of water I picked up, this stuff that I picked up is not taking up too much. It's 2,570 space.
If you're going around from planet to planet.
But if you got 6 planets, yeah, it's not uncommon for me to get this thing pretty packed.
There's also a Galente ship that has a specialized bay that says Planetary Commodities.
I forgot about that one. That's a cool one. Yeah, it's specifically designed for this stuff.
Any suggestions on which hauler to get?
Yeah, give me 1 second and I'll link it in Corp Chat so he could keep doing what he's doing.
I'm just answering questions now. I know creating the links and stuff. If you guys need help when you go out to do this and set this up, I'll step aside and help you get through the initial setup because I know I can tell you how to do it and stuff, but I swear there's so much clicking. It's almost like you have to learn the muscle memory aspect of it too.
Interested in this, I am.
Oh, it's great. Once you get it going, it's pretty much set on timers. You just go out and scoop up your goods and haul them to market or whatever. But I actually convert my stuff. Like, let me show you my production planet real quick.
or Galante?
And I'm still playing with this. This isn't efficient or any means, but I'm gonna start clicking on some of these. I have advanced industries and stuff on here. So like these bottom four, these are producing rocket fuel. It's taking these two tier 1 items and it's producing a tier 2 item called rocket fuel. I need those for tier 2 rockets that I build. I need thousands of these barrels. And I'm only producing for each factory 5 units per cycle, which takes an hour. So I've only got 4 of these set up because I was trying it out. So I'm only making 20 barrels of rocket fuel every hour. And to do one of my blueprints, I almost need 2,000 units of that stuff. So I'm gonna expand this big time, but I was just getting an idea. I'm also building guided systems. Those are kind of tricky because it takes 2 tier 2 items, these transmitters and water-cooled CPUs. I'm producing those as well and turning them into a tier 3 item, which is these guided systems. I'm also building a tier, on my other guy, I'm producing robotics, which are a tier 3 item. I'm also producing construction blocks because I had extra materials that I wasn't using, and the only thing I could really build with them were construction blocks. So I'm not using these to build really anything right now, but I'm saving them up because they are used for several things that I will be building down the road. These 4 factories up here are like the basic factories. They're the advanced factories. There's like 3 different tier factories. But these advanced factories are taking the water that I just picked up and then also reactive metals, and it's making the water-cooled CPU. So that's pretty cool. But when everything's done, it goes to these launch pads. And then anything that's being used as a building material for this production line are going to these storage facilities. But it is a ton of resources just to make all these different things. And I have tons of room still to add a ton more factories and stuff here. But I'm trying to figure out what the best layout is still. It's all about number crunching, and it's a lot of work when you get to this point, but it's not that bad. Once you get the basics down, you know pretty much how to do everything. Everything will fall in place fairly easy after you set up your first like 2 planets, ripping out P0 items and converting it to P1. You're good. It took me a while to figure all this out. I watched a ton of tutorial videos and just kept at it. There's no real definite right way of doing this, to linking things together and stuff like that. There are efficient ways of doing it, but it all comes down to your number crunching. How much are you pulling in? How much are you extracting? How much is being converted? It turns into a real math game, and I don't like that. I'm just gonna round it off in my head, and I'm gonna lay things down and find that sweet ratio of inputs and outputs. So, but you can get pretty deep in it. You can really crunch the numbers and know precisely how many factors you can support, things like that. But I would start off, I have to go back to that. I'm still not done with that planet because with those extractors and stuff, I can actually support more factories. I think if you watch tutorials and stuff, they'll end up having 8 or 10 factories on there with the extractor heads. I forget. It's every extractor head can support like 2 factories or something like that. You have like 10. So like, but then the amount of resources that those rip out, they taper off. So you kind of got to compensate for that as well. Thank you. Any more questions or anything, guys?
But it's just more skills to get under your belt.
Yeah, but thankfully there's only really 5 different skills under this category, and to get started on it, to get a decent start, maybe a couple days of training, maybe 3, and you could be producing P3 items fairly quickly. And I know like the guidance systems and the robotic parts that I'm building, those sell for like 70,000 ISK per unit. So that money adds up quick at that price. That's very expensive. Because some things like might take like 10 units, and there's 70,000 a piece. Well, you're talking about 7 million ISK right now. So, or wait, is that right? Or is that 700,000? Yeah, I can't think right now. It adds up fast though.
I was wondering what time you usually play. Like what time the corporation is most active.
We're active all day long.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you'll find people on all day, like different people at different times, but there's always
through the
somebody
night.
here.
We're all over the world, so it's 24/7.
Oh yeah. I have this PI stuff set up on my other character as well, and then I don't know why I never thought of this before, but I made a secondary character on my account, my main account, and I'm having him train the skills to be able to do PI also, because I realized even though I don't play that second character, I can use them for another 6 planets. So I'm going to be revamping everything again, and I'm going to be able to produce a ton of this material off these planets because I use them for a lot of stuff that I built. It's like, look at these blueprints.
Guess what?
I'm actually curious about using multiple characters. Should I do that?
Can I step in here first?
Sure. Yeah.
Planetary management is only Omega. I'm checking in skills, and
Is
it's
it?
all Omega.
I couldn't remember if it was. I didn't think it was initially. Like I thought it cut off at a certain level, but
It's
I
all
couldn't
Omega.
figure that out.
Well, that rots.
I know, like, see, like this tier 2 blueprint for these missiles, this little planet here. This is rocket fuel, and you get it from this planetary stuff. You'll have all kinds of tier 2 blueprints that require different planetary interaction building materials. So that's what the stuff's used for. So look, I need 1,239 barrels of rocket fuel to build 10 runs. This 50,000 missiles.